My name is Le'Keshia Atchison, also known as I Am Creative Words. And this is a story about my journey of healing and deliverance with the Holy Spirit.
When I was 3 years old, I remember my older cousin, she would come over and she would babysit me and my brother whenever my mom had to work or if she ran out to the grocery store a lot of times. And I remember this particular day when my mother went out. Like we played a little bit. We had fun, like playing like with the Legos and doing those types of things. And then she ended up telling me, because my mother was gone for quite some time, and then she ended up telling me like, okay, Pooh, it's nap time. And I'm like, okay. And so I'm walking back down the hallway because we lived in a trailer, and I'm holding her hand, and she's guiding me into my mother's bedroom. She tells me, all right, take off your clothes, because I had on overalls and I had on like a white shirt. And she's telling me to take my clothes off. And again, not understanding why I'm performing this action to take a nap, I performed it because she's my older cousin. I've known her since I was little. She's always been there, and the trust was there. So I did as I was told, and my mother has always taught us to respect our elders. I laid on my back, and then she told me to take my panties off. So I took my panties off. She tells me I have a small bean, not knowing exactly what that means. Again, I'm 3 years old. And then next thing I know, I hear my mother coming in through the front door. And she's like, quickly, put your clothes on. And I'm like, okay. And I quickly get dressed as fast as I can, throw on my panties, throw on my overalls and my shirt. And we walk. And as soon as we walk, as soon as you enter in my mother's bedroom, it was the bathroom. And so my mom came around the corner from the living room, and she's asked me, she was like, hey, what you guys are doing? And she was like, nothing. I just took Pooh to the bathroom. And I'm sitting here thinking, you told me we was going to take a nap, and I didn't get a chance to take my nap. I wish that I would have opened up my mouth and told my mother right away, like, no, we didn't just come out the bathroom. We lived in poverty. We did. My mother, she did the very, very best that she could. She went to jail because she was selling to get us money so that we can have nice clothes, we can have nice shoes, that we can have nice things. She went to prison again. We went to go stay with my aunt, and I remember, I believe my mother was in it for about 8 to 9 months. I don't remember what they actually charged her with, but I remember me and my brother would go and visit her in prison. And staying with my aunt, it was closer to the prison to visit her. So not having the biological father, my biological father, and then now my mother is now gone. It was really hard. It really was. When I started going to preschool, when I was I think it was like 4 or 5, like they would have to call my mom to come get me because I would just sit there and cry and just holler that I was missing my mom. Age 6 was when the first time I ended up going to church. I did a lot of crying, and that's when I found out, as I was going to church, that's why I found out my passion for writing. At the age of 12, my mother, she was shot, and she was shot in her right arm with a .22 caliber. And that was probably, I'm not even going to say probably, that was the most devastating day of my life, because I thought that she had died. That day, June 7th, 1997, I was 12 years old. My mother came to me. I was laying in bed and I was asleep. She had gotten remarried, and I was laying in bed and I was asleep, and she came and asked me. She was like, Keisha, I'm about to go to the grocery store. Do you want to come? And I was so tired from the day that I had at school. I was like, no, like, I'm okay, I'm good. And she was like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, like, I'm sure. I'm going to lay here and I'm going to continue to nap. I love my naps. And she went to the store, and the next thing I know, my stepdad, James, he came busting in my room, and he woke me up. And, out of my sleep, because it literally scared me. He's like, Keisha, get dressed. Your mama been shot. And I'm just like, wait, what? And so got dressed as quickly as possible. My older brother, we both hop into the truck and we get to the supermarket. And as we pulling up, we see all the police lights. We see the ambulance. And we park at a fairly good distance, about 30, maybe 40 feet from where all the commotion was going on. And we got out the truck and we walked up. As soon as we get out the truck and we walk up, I hear a lady hollering. And I mean, she is hollering at the top of her lungs. And we getting closer and closer, and you hear it louder and louder. And I'm just like, my God, who is really screaming like this? Like, they are in some serious pain. And we get to the yellow tape, and the police officer is like, he was like, no, you can't come in. And my stepdad, James, is like, we family. I'm her husband, and these are her kids. And he was like, okay, you can come on in. And I'm looking, and the paramedics is on the passenger side of the car doing work on her. It's the paramedics that's behind the driver's seat doing work on her. And it's her that's screaming like that. In just complete pain and agony. And I have never in my life heard my mother scream like that. And it broke me literally, like, to my core. I didn't know the human body could hold so much blood, but it was just so much blood everywhere. And I didn't know where she had got shot at. They didn't tell us anything. When they pulled her onto the stretcher, it was like the noise just stopped. It was like the whole time she was screaming again. At least about 30, 40 feet away, you can hear a woman hollering. You can just hear her at the top of her lungs screaming. And then when they moved her onto the stretcher, like, it was just silence. You heard the police officers talking, but that scream, that agony, that pain, you didn't hear that anymore. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, did she die? Because it was, when a baby's born and they cry, it's like that lets you know that they're alive, that they're getting oxygen, that they're breathing. And again, when that happened, it was just like, I thought she died. We go to the hospital, and again, it's complete silence. And we walk up to the information desk, and my stepdad is like, hey, so-and-so, we're here to see so-and-so. And she ends up telling us that my mom is in surgery. So we end up having to wait. And we waited, I believe, for about 6 or 7 hours before we was even able to see her. And it was next day, June 8th, when I actually got to see my mom. And when I saw her, she had so many tubes hanging from her nose and coming out the side of her chest. And I have never in my life would I have imagined to see my mother like that. My stepdad, he stuck around until she got out of the hospital. And then in a sense for him, it was just too much. It was too much for him. So he ended up leaving. And it was just me and my brother. And her nursing and changing her bandages, I had to do all of that at 12. It was literally like I had to step up to the plate and be the woman of the house at 12 years old. And my brother, he was 15. He went out and he took her place with selling and getting a job and trying to bring money in, because it was just us now. So this is still the age of 12. And so 13, once my mom got better, like a whole year later and stuff like that, my mom, like, she ended up calling. We lost our house that we had at that time, and we ended up moving in with another one of my cousins. And she ended up calling me one day. And I was babysitting the kids, and she was like, Keisha, I can't take it anymore. I'm on I'm on Highway 11, and I'm waiting to get hit by a car. And I'm just like, what? Like, why? Why are you doing this? And she was just like, I can't take it anymore. And I'm like, I need you to stay here. I understand that you're going through what you're going through, but I need you to stay here. And she just kept saying, I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. And I was like, so you're telling me your 2 kids is not enough for you to stay? And she literally was like, at that point in time, no. I called my grandmother. I called my other cousins. I called my aunts and my uncles and stuff. And I told them that she's somewhere walking on Highway 11 waiting to get hit by a car. Can y'all please go get her? And they ended up finding her on the highway. Mind you, I didn't even think to call 911. I did not call 911. My family ended up finding her, and they brought her back to my cousin's house. And literally all I could do was just sit there and look at her and just cry. At the age of 14, after the whole suicidal attempt that she had, at the age of 14, my mother starts dating somebody else, and she ends up remarrying him. She ends up marrying him, and they had arguments and stuff before, and I would separate them. And this particular day, he ends up hitting her. And when he ends up hitting her, that's when I get in and I end up getting hit. And so the domestic violence within the home started at the age of 14. Again, the fights, they got worse. And it was plenty of times again where after this point, after I got hit, she said he wasn't coming back, and he ends up being in the house the next day. And so this then puts a strain, puts distance between me and her, because I'm like, you lied. When I was 13 and she told me that me and my brother wasn't enough, it was already, again, a strain in regards to that, because I'm already looking at her like, really, how can we not be enough after what we've done? And then now, here it is at 14, you've remarried here, and this man, he's 28 years old, and it's like, you've told me, your child, that he's not coming back because he's hit me. You've made that promise to me. You looked me in my face and told me that this was not going to happen again. Like, it's over with, it's done. I started cutting because I had found out, I can't even remember how I really found out, but I found out that it releases endorphins, it releases stress, or whatever the case may be. And so that's why I had started doing it. And it was, and it did help me, I'm doing air quotes here, it did help me get through the next 2 years. Because it was 2 years worth of domestic violence between them, where it wasn't just her and him fighting and me trying to break it up. It became a full-blown fight between me and him. And I would hit him and he would hit me, and we would just be going like back and forth. And it was no longer the matter of me just falling down and falling back anymore, like what happened when I was when I had first got hit. I was actually starting to stand my ground, even after I've gotten hit. When I was 16 years old, I gave my mom an ultimatum, and I told her it's either him or me, and she chose him. So I packed my stuff and I moved out, and I went and stayed with my aunt Rosa Haddock. And she became like my second mom, and me and her developed the absolute best relationship ever. Even though I was not really talking to God like that, he sent me someone to give me structure again, to give me a foundation again. And that's what she did for me. It's been a journey to not be angry at them, because even in my journey, I've made mistakes. I have not been perfect, and I know for all of them, and this is because I spoke to them. Like my mother, she told me, she said when she got shot, she said she apologized, and she said that she was sorry. She said she no longer knew how to be the mother of whom she used to be, which is why she just completely fell off. And I understood that. I'm not a mother myself, but I understood it, and I respect her even more for telling me the truth. And even my biological father, he's apologized to me, and he's told me that he he himself was a broken man, and he didn't know how to be a dad to me and my brother, which is why he went on the pathway that he went on. And my brother, he was just like, little sis, I'm sorry. He was like, with everything that had happened, because he ended up smoking weed, he ended up getting into that lifestyle and stuff, and he was like, I was just dealing with it the best way that I could, and not even realizing that I was leaving you behind. And I'm like, you guys, I respect y'all. I really do respect y'all for telling me what you've told me. I'm glad that we're in a space now where we can talk about these things, and it doesn't get out of hand, and we can openly share our feelings and emotions with one another. Don't give up. Do not give up. It was plenty of times where I wanted to take my life, because I had got addicted to pills. I had got addicted to, alcohol. I just trying to bury the pain, just trying to get rid of it. But when you house it within your body, it's not you getting rid of it. You're just adding more and more to it. Find the best way for you, being led by the Holy Spirit. Find the best way for you to release all that and to free yourself from it. If you hold it within your body, it does you no good. It causes sickness and infirmities in your body, when you start having heart problems or back problems or whatever the case may be. Get it up out your body. Release it in the best way, again, being led by the Holy Spirit, that is see fit for you, regardless whether you're singing or you're cooking or whatever your vice is. Release it and don't give up, because there is light at the end of the tunnel. It really is, and it does get brighter and brighter as you get closer and closer to it.